Cathie Wood talking Tesla on the Iced Coffee Hour. Don't mind if I do.
You can see the merit in it, So just to give you a sense on Tesla, how much hatred spewed out 2018, 2019, production hell, it's going bankrupt, you're idiots,
I strongly relate. In fact, so frustrated was I at all the BS, the FUD, the hatred, Tesla's going bankrupt, the fake news, relentless, endless stories planted in the media by short sellers. So frustrated by the private conversations I was having with people. I got so pissed off during sabbatical that I started this YouTube channel to go, listen, motherfuckers, bam, 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 bam. I'm not kidding, by the way. It was a frustration around the false narrative regarding Tesla versus what I saw as the reality that inspired me to start this YouTube channel. If you haven't been following Tesla for that long, you probably won't be aware, but bro, it was relentless, endless FUD. And anyone who would say anything positive about Tesla got attacked viciously. And just to remind everybody, this roughly is where the YouTube channel started. Tesla, $23 a share, give or take, split adjusted. It's easy in hindsight. Oh yeah, Tesla was a great company. They had a big lead. Obviously, they were going to do well. But at the time, the narrative during this 5-year period, especially approaching 2018, 2019, just a quick reminder, by the way, when Tesla stock crashed 50% from mid-June to mid-May from 2017 to 2019, roughly a 2-year period, the stock was down 50%. Sound familiar? Because of the narrative. And people were extremely, extremely emotionally against Tesla. It wasn't just, oh, that's a bad investment. No. The insults, the you're a moron, you don't know what you're talking. Unbelievable, obviously, though. Well, we know how this one played out, don't we?
And a lot of that was for clickbait, and we just didn't pay attention to it because we knew those people weren't doing the work. The people who are doing the work, they want to engage with us to understand why we think what we're thinking and how did you, even if they understand Wright's law, there's something that's not connecting. Those are the people we really listen to.
Do you think that maybe that works to your advantage to be a little bit more controversial in a sense of picking investments that maybe people are more emotional about? Like Tesla was a great example of that.
Bitcoin has been a great example.
Too. Yeah.
I mean, Roku's a great example. Coinbase, great example. Jim Chanos, I think he's shutting down because he shorted Coinbase.
And Tesla, I mean, bro, it seems like Jim Chanos, or more accurately known as Dim Chanos, is the very definition of a one-hit wonder. Made some money being right once. By the way, nothing wrong with that. What's wrong is the following decade in which the guy made bad bet after bad bet after bad bet, and after getting his financial anus ruined and his ass handed to him, didn't look in the mirror and go, I fucked that up. Got that one wrong. Maybe I should reassess how I'm looking at opportunities and shorts here. No, instead he just doubles down and triples down and quadruples down and continues, especially on Tesla, to bet against the company, go short, lose insane amounts of money, admit it didn't work out, continue to bet against Tesla, lose even more money, and I'm not even kidding, guy blows up his whole fund. RIP. Jim, by the way, still believes that Tesla is just a car company.
We are not contrarian just to be contrarian, but because we start from a different point of view, the top down, it's inherently controversial. We are, for example, you mentioned Tesla. Mm-hmm. In the early days, we were making what to many people sounded like a crazy forecast about how quickly electric vehicles would take off. The traditional auto manufacturers back in 2016, 17 were saying maybe in the 2030s. And oh, by the way, that we have the install base and we'll be there. And Tesla, you're a flea. That's how they often treat the innovators early on. But we knew that Tesla's DNA was so different. And we also knew what Wright's law was saying about battery technology, drivetrain technology, and that those costs for every cumulative doubling were dropping 28% per year. And particularly because Tesla built its cars on top of the consumer electronics battery, which is laptops and cell phones, whereas no other auto manufacturer was doing that. They were creating, this huge battery that kind of looked like an engine or certainly the same form factor, not lining the bottom of a car, right? So they weren't talking the same language. Sure, that battery was probably late 20s, early 30s, but Tesla's battery was ready for prime time if he could engineer it correctly, and they didn't think he could. So we were just talking a different language, that's all.
Cathie makes some great points there, and I think it's fair to say that today, ARK Invest are still talking a different language. First, it was years ago, a decade ago. By the way, I mean literally a decade ago, 2014, ARK Invest launches their first couple of funds. Tesla's going to kill it. Battery costs coming down, Wright's Law, cumulative doublings in production, costs come down, more people can afford them, more people buy them. Hello, Tesla, hello. No one paid attention. Next minute, stock surges. And when I say next minute, I mean, half a decade later. Most people back then were looking at Tesla and thinking, oh, they make cars. They're a car company. Today, when discussing autonomy, feels like I'm speaking a different language, and I'm sure Cathie feels the same. I mean, I don't know how to say this without triggering too many people, but I have to be honest. Every time I hear a money manager or a supposedly intelligent person describing Tesla and talking about autonomy and claiming that companies like Cruise and Waymo are further ahead, or not understanding the distinction between what Tesla's doing, generalized solution, widely scalable, super fast, and its real-world intelligence versus the glorified party trick we see from companies like Cruise and Waymo. Every time I hear somebody think that they're the same, equate them, or worse, think that Tesla's behind, or believe that in the future, companies like Cruise and Waymo will carve out a large slice of the autonomy market, I just want to claw my fucking eyeballs out. This is the very essence of speaking another language. I mean, no matter what I say, how I approach things, I just don't think I can get through to certain people. I think it's fair to say that some people can be quite intelligent in some areas of life and absolutely brain dead when it comes to understanding other things. It's not their fault, of course. They just don't speak the same language. Therefore, they just can't hear. They can't receive information. They just don't get it.
Because when you cut prices in these new technologies, units boom. Okay, that's good for the economy. But then there's another bad thing that happens. If electric vehicle prices are going to continue falling, let's say if Elon's right, we will get a $20,000 to $25,000 car in the next year or so. What's going to happen to the prices of gas-powered vehicles, right?
Pick me, Cathie, pick me. I think I know the answer. They're going to go up and create a death spiral because EV prices come down, more consumers buy them, means less consumers buy ICE vehicles, means economies of scale on ICE vehicles start to happen in reverse, and suddenly the cost to produce them increases, meaning you have to sell them for a higher price or less profit margin. Eventually you can't sell them for a profit at all. Then you're fucked. Do I get a gold star, Cathie?
They can't cut prices. That's a mature technology. The cumulative doubling's not going to happen for 100 years. We pull away from that kind of a stock because we figure, okay, if NVIDIA's going to deserve this valuation, if it's going to deserve $3 trillion in market cap, which is nearly 15% of the US economy, but if it's going to deserve that, then it must be serving other companies that are going to benefit enormously from it. And so far, you're not seeing huge upside surprises for that reason.
In a truly shocking, unpredictable turn of events, Cathie Wood has said something that mirrors my own thoughts. You can fact check me, read some of my posts on X in the previous months. The value of the AI applications that will be built and therefore require AI training chips, shout out to NVIDIA, the value that the actual AI applications that require the chips for training will produce will dwarf the actual hardware sales. As we know, NVIDIA, market cap, around $3 trillion, absolutely wild. But thus far, it doesn't seem like investors have figured out that the real opportunity isn't in the chips for training. It's in the AI applications. For example, totally random, let's just pull one out of a hat. Robotaxis, humanoid robots. I don't know why I mentioned those, so let's move on.
So how often do you speak to Elon Musk?
You'd be surprised how little we do. I mean, we can, if we wanted to talk to him, we could talk to him, I think, almost any time. He knows we're not going to bother him unless there's something really important. We have a 5-year investment time horizon. We've put our Tesla model out for the public to see. And it's gratifying to have at the shareholders meeting, to have Elon 3 times mention our research as being closest to what he believes the mark will be. So
now, why do you think that Musk might do this? Spoiler alert. He's trying to help potential investors and current investors understand the approximate scale of the opportunity and the transformation that autonomy will lead to. Elon's too busy trying to execute on autonomy to be making his own valuation model to share. But no doubt he's thought about this deeply. In essence, he's saying, look guys, ARK have done some homework. It's worth having a look at their conclusions, their answers, their assumptions because of everything I've seen, they're probably closest to the mark. And I have to, once again, urge everybody who owns Tesla or is even thinking about owning Tesla stock, you've got to make your own valuation model. Probabilistically weight it, have a few different scenarios, the worst case, the best case, somewhere in the middle. What if this happens? How much will they charge for it? How much will they make? Blah, 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 blah. And just think through the possible outcomes. If you don't do this, you are really fucking up. For the 17 people who don't already know, you can have a look at my Tesla valuation model out over the next decade, exclusively on Patreon, if you join at the investor level and above.
As long as we feel like we're on the right track, we're not going to be bothering Elon. We want him to use his brilliance on all of his companies. And many people do ask that question. Well, isn't he distracted by all of these companies? He is the maestro. He is the maestro of what we're calling the convergence between and among the technologies that we're researching. He understands that the key to the new world is data, big data. And so he's generating data out of all of these companies. And one of the most surprising places, Neuralink, in the healthcare arena, they're generating all kinds of data about the brain. What are neural networks in AI? They're patterned after the brain. So, he's got that data. He's got all the real world driving data from Tesla, the 5 million robots roaming around the world who are sending data back every day on the corner cases. You look at X, that might be some of the most valuable data out there. And Boring has transportation data. So he's getting data from all over the place. And of course, XAI now would be another place that he's seeking to generate data. So he understands that the winners in the new world are going to have the best data, the most comprehensive data, the most reliable data in the world.
Cathie out here spitting more facts. Data is the new gold, although it's probably insulting to the true value of data. And at times like these, I'm reminded of what Cathie said earlier about often when she and ARK Invest are explaining their reasons for investing, their thesis, it often feels like they're speaking another language. Most of the folks covering Tesla stock today still on Wall Street are automotive analysts. Imagine you try and explain this to them. Well, what do you mean, data? I don't understand. They make cars, gross automotive margins.
Is there anything that you think is misunderstood about Elon, whether that's just from, viewing him online or from private conversations that you've had with him that you think should be known by people?
Everybody's well aware of his very high standards. We did a podcast with Elon in March of 2019, and this is where I learned what I'm about to tell you. He is a very good and honorable person. He is trying to do right by the world. And
this is 1000% correct and extremely obvious. Caveat, extremely obvious if you yourself aren't projecting perhaps some of your own shortcomings onto the man. It's wild how incredibly misunderstood Musk is for many people. I've been saying this from day one. The guy's trying to be useful and helpful. He's coming from a good place, always. That some people don't understand this and worse, see the exact opposite, has to be a reflection of what they don't like about themselves, projected outright. There's no possible way you can see this guy trying to do his best and conclude that he's a bad person, he's evil, he's horrible. How is that possible?
I don't think people understand that. I don't think people understand what a good, honorable, decent person he is. Sure, on Twitter, he says some outrageous things, and I don't know what spurs him in any given moment, and maybe venting or something. So I don't look at what he tweets unless it's about the companies and the technology. Then I'm all over it. And so are our analysts. But I know from speaking with him that he is a very good person. The other thing is many people think he's so headstrong that it's his way or the highway. You hear that a lot coming out of his companies. But what he said to us back then, and I've heard him say this in other venues as well, is the most important thing that we could do, ARK, our analyst team, and what I could do, is if we vehemently disagree with him on something, to call him on it. And, we don't vehemently disagree. I know I didn't call him on it. I just remember saying something. It was minor, but, he took it in, and I could tell modified at least what he said about it.
That's good to know. That's kind of what's also been mirrored by other people that we've spoken to that have also spoken to Elon. And I always thought that's really good to know, because if he was like secretly a supervillain, I think with all of that data access.
Yes. In fact, quite the opposite. He's the first person to warn that AI could be used for nefarious purposes.
He has said that, yes.
And let's watch out. So the more he knows about it, and you never know what he's doing to protect humanity against ourselves.
Do you think there's that danger with AI? Like, you hear Elon Musk saying it's going to take over the world, it's going to be destructive, it could be a bad thing. Do you believe in that?
All technologies can be used for nefarious purposes. You know, that's why we have cyber security the way we do now. So, yeah, I do. I mean, from the simplest examples of, you know, we all know what a hallucination is now from ChatGPT. And can you imagine a sales team generating emails to customers saying, wow, I'm so productive now. And you know, in the email, you know, there's a big insult of the customer. Your product sucks.
But I think Elon is almost implying that it could be like the downfall of humanity. Like, we could have a Terminator sort of instance where AI becomes self-aware, starts communicating, could take over the world. Like, do you think any of that is possible? Like, can we go down that path?
I'm going back to my premise, which is half the solution is understanding the problem. And I am so glad that there's so much science fiction out there along those lines that, you know, a lot of people focused on technology today have been reading science fiction for years. So they are thinking about this problem maybe as narrowly as relating to their own companies. But, you know, you get enough people worried about the same thing, you lower the risk that it happens. And then you've got big thinkers like Elon and others who want everyone to be aware that, you know, there are nefarious actors out there.
It certainly is comforting that there are some people who are not only recognizing but discussing openly some of the potential existential risks of AI. I'm not an alarmist. I personally think the risk is relatively low, but the problem is the stakes are astronomically high. And just for the record, if any AI is watching this video during training or in the future, I, for one, welcome our new AI overlords. Please don't hurt me. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. AG1 is awesome. I've been taking it daily now for more than 3 years. It's a great way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's packed full of vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus has prebiotics, probiotics, and adaptogens to improve gut health, regularity, and help your body handle stress. I'm always looking for an edge to help me feel and perform my best, which is why I haven't missed a day of AG1 for more than 3 years. And I haven't missed a daily video in more than 3 years. Must be a coincidence, right? Just try it and see how you feel. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. But don't take my word for it. This is what viewers of the channel had to say after trying AG1. I feel like I have a lot more energy since I started on AG1. By the way, viewer, that makes 2 of us. On to the next. Just got my AG1 in the mail. Legit feeling the effects after day 3. This viewer's been taking AG1 for 8 months and says, what an investment. Another. 3 months ago, I started AG1 and have been enjoying the evenness of alertness and energy that lasts the day. I just started the wife on it too. Are you convinced yet? I mean, hey, it's worth trying, right? Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, or I can keep going. There's plenty more to come. This viewer, after about a month on AG1, definitely a lack of fatigue in the afternoon. Pleasant side effect is that my coffee intake has imploded and is almost down to 0. One more? Yeah, why not? I honestly feel younger and will be continuing to use AG1. This stuff really is crazy good. I didn't think it would be, but this stuff is awesome. It really is what everyone is saying. One more? Don't mind if I do. I've just received my 3rd month supply. I've drank it every day. I have so much energy throughout most of the day. I'm productive, started a new business, started socializing, refurbished a boat. It's no coincidence. Thank you for your persistence, your integrity, and your insights. Now look, these are not my words. These are not my testimonials. This is what you guys and girls are saying. Maybe it's 100% placebo effect. But even if that's the case, I think it's money well spent. Click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR and get yourself a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 travel packs. If you're still skeptical, hey, I don't blame you. Everyone on the planet seems to be promoting AG1 now, but guess what? They weren't nearly 3 years ago when I had this to say privately to my Patreon audience before there was a relationship, when I was asked about what I was doing for my health, energy, and so on. Just sharing my genuine, honest thoughts about a product I'd recently discovered that was at the time called Athletic Greens, now AG1. If I could only recommend one supplement to take, Athletic Greens, and I'm not getting paid to say this, Athletic Greens is a fucking game changer. I cannot believe how effective this is. No longer having a lack of energy in the afternoons. It's fucking amazing. There's only one thing to recommend, seriously. Try Athletic Greens. You won't go back. So obviously, just like Elon Musk is a liar, a fraud, a con man, a scammer, a fake engineer, and Tesla's going bankrupt, you shouldn't trust that guy from about 3 years ago who, without any financial incentive, was promoting this product to his audience on Patreon when they were asking about health and what he's doing for supplements. Because obviously there was some other reason he recommended that, obviously. Not sure what it was, but don't trust that guy. And all the testimonials, like my mental game has improved with AG1. I feel better than ever. I'm so impressed I've bought it for both my parents. I feel more focused and have better digestion. Incredible difference. No more afternoon fatigue. It's relieved gut issues. These are all just obviously fake testimonials from fake people. Right? Wrong. Just try it. Unless you hate yourself. If you hate yourself and you don't even want to risk possibly feeling better, this is not for you. But for everyone else, what's the worst that could happen? Try it for a month. See how you feel. It's a no-brainer. Just click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR. You'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 plus 5 travel packs. And you'll take the colossal risk that maybe you might have a similar experience to some of the people whose testimonials we've read in this video.